Hello, everyone. I'd like first of all to thank the organizers of this meeting for inviting me here today. My name is Yunlong from Shijiazhuang Yiling Pharmaceutical Company, China. I feel so honored to introduce our featured traditional Chinese medicine products, Lian Hua Qing Wen capsules. My topic is Lian Hua Qing Wen prevents and treats respiratory infectious diseases. On this timeline, respiratory virus cause 4 times pandemic outbreaks all around the world in this century, from 2000 SARS to this time SARS-CoV-2. COVID-19 could be one of the largest epidemics of respiratory illness in history. Global accumulation confirmed cases are up to 613 million. Although the mortality rate has fallen compared to the beginning, about 1% of mortality rate is still much higher than common respiratory viruses like influenza. Since COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic, we have experienced 6 major mutations. Frequent mutations definitely challenge the effectiveness of the possible vaccines and force vaccine development to stay up with the mutation. Remdesivir initially as a treatment for Ebola and Marburg virus infections also show antiviral activity against SARS-CoV-2. As we knew, the therapeutic effect is not satisfying until Paxlovid got approved by ABDA and launched. The silver bullet seems to solve all our problems. However, a research article shows Paxlovid might help the virus replication and increase the rebound infection rate. So a quick summary. SARS-CoV-2 is still at large. Virus mutation is inevitable and will threaten the effectiveness of our achieving medicines and vaccines. Bad news is SARS-CoV-2 is not the only one we need to deal with. The result of the various surveillance shows respiratory virus infections are complex and diverse, and combined virus infections are frequent. Respiratory virus species are diverse, and that the symptoms are highly similar. For instance, it's difficult to distinguish the influenza between COVID-19 by general symptoms. Both have fever, headache, myalgia, fatigue, loss of appetite. In most cases, treatments are often targeted at these symptoms for lack of specific antiviral agents. Fortunately, this is another option for us. Traditional Chinese medicine, we have a Chinese word "wen." In my opinion, it represents a category of infectious diseases, especially for those diseases that spread quickly and kills a large number of people and animals, not limited to lung diseases in particular. Pestilence was a literal translation in English. I think the pestilence in European in the 14th century killed about 25 million people, which is a quarter of the population at that time. In China, since the Western Han Dynasty, more than 300 epidemics occurred during the 2000 years, about once every 6 years, consistent with the frequency of outbreaks of respiratory infectious disease in the last 20 years. In these cases, traditional Chinese medicine has abundant clinical practice and theoretical summaries in fighting with pestilence, by which TCM doctors classify pestilence as an exogenous warm heat disease. In my opinion, the classification is based on the similar syndromes or the effective treatments for lack of the knowledge of pathogens. That's why we believe that TCM has an advantage in dealing with the new infectious disease. It's hard to explain this slide in short time. The left part here is more like a description for the interaction between virus and host from young collaterals to in collaterals. You can take this for the process that the patients are exposed to the pathogen like virus, and the virus proliferates in infected cells and then cause the damage to the cell or tissue. The middle part demonstrates the strategies of the TCM formulas. Expelling pathogens means to improve host. I think it means to improve host defense capabilities, such as the intact structural barrier. Barrier is localized to the respiratory tract and immunoregulation. Medication before manifestation means to mitigate the symptoms by early intervention. For instance, inhibiting virus replication or boosting the immune defense. TCM is characterized by multi-target therapies for this complicated components. The right part introduces the distinctive features of the formula. Let us zoom in. Based on the clinical practice, Lian Hua Qing Wen integrates yin qiao powder and ma xing shigan decoction and creatively it's it's really difficult to read this three herbal medicines name. So I noted the traditional application of each herbal medicine in TCM. Let us skip this complicated part. It's like we combined those classified traditional Chinese medicine formulas together and make a new one. And by medical literature retrieval, we list the published pharmacological actions of each part, which provide evidence that Lian Hua Qing Wen has multi-target activities. Here we show the basic formula of Lian Hua Qing Wen. 13 herbal medicines in proper preparations were extracted and dried and then prepared into capsules. As you know, it's in a normal way to get the approval of new drug. We conducted the in vitro and in vivo preclinical studies and provide the evidence that the Lian Hua Qing Wen exerts multiple therapeutic effects, including the broad spectrum antivirus, antibacterial, and anti-inflammation, antipyretic, anti-tussive, and including expectoration and regulating immunity, improving disease resistance, and promoting rehabilitation, so on. In 2003, as you know, SARS broke out in China. National key laboratory of China confirmed that Lian Hua Qing Wen can inhibit SARS virus. Then Hebei, our province medical product administration gave a license to Lian Hua Qing Wen as a hospital preparation. Later, the NMPA approved the clinical marketing research for Lian Hua Qing Wen based on the policy of Chinese National Drug Examination Green Channel. Lian Hua Qing Wen is the only approved drug passing the Green Channel in 2003. Nearly 2 decades after launching, Lian Hua Qing Wen was recommended by 30 Chinese diagnosis and treatment guidelines and listed as a family standard drug for 10 consecutive years. It was ranked first in the top list of influenza in the evidence index of the evidence-based evaluation of Chinese medicine. Of all these awards, we are really proud that Lian Hua Qing Wen won the second prize of National Science and Technology Progress Award and won the brand with the highest recommendation rate of family standing medicine for 10 consecutive years. To pursue a broader market and expand the impact of the TCM, we never stopping the process of international registration of Lian Hua Qing Wen. So far, registration got approved in nearly 30 countries, and registration applications are underway in more than another 30 countries. Application for COVID-19 indications were approved in Kuwait, Mongolia, Laos, and Uzbekistan, Thailand, and Cambodia. Lian Hua Qing Wen were selected for the home treatment protocol for patients with mild COVID-19 insured by the Ministry of Health of Cambodia, which is the first time for Chinese drug to be selected for the treatment protocol for COVID-19 in overseas countries. From this slide, I will introduce some clinical trial or experiment evidence to prove Lian Hua Qing Wen has a broad spectrum antiviral effect, and this is the first one. Anti-influenza A trial is the first randomized double-blind multi-center positive control clinical trial. 9 research units enrolled 405 H1 and N1 infective subjects. Oseltamivir was used as the positive control agent. The primary endpoint is the duration of disease. The secondary endpoints are listed here, at least the right part. Compared with the control medicine, Lian Hua Qing Wen reduced the duration of illness, had a better antipyretic effect, and reduced the average duration of cough, sore throat, and fatigue. Meanwhile, a clinical trial for preventive use of Lian Hua Qing Wen were conducted in H1 and N1 infected patients in the 6,367 cases who taken Lian Hua Qing Wen. The infection rate is only 1.2% compared with the untreated group. You see the untreated group up to 80.8% infection rate. The right side is the trial in campus. In campus is more like a closed environment. A relative we see a relative closed environment, close contact or surrounding students were randomly divided into the different groups. Lian Hua Qing Wen can significantly reduce the infection rate. Then a clinical trial by Lian Hua Qing Wen in the treatment of the acute upper respiratory infection were conducted in Hubei province. 1,000 patients were recruited. Yinqiao tablet is also another it's like vitamin C and plus TCM is like a compound medicine we use to control. The evaluation indicator were listed here. Were listed the right part, including effective rate and clinical symptoms and clinical test result. Compared with the control group, the total effective rate of the Lian Hua Qing Wen capsules in treating patients with the upper respiratory infection were better up to you see up to the right corner. The right corner, you can see that the number is 94.4%. Meanwhile, the Lian Hua Qing Wen improved various symptoms of the acute upper respiratory infections, especially in the farming in the nasal congestions and the cough and very not good. Oh, sorry, it's worse. I'll escape my mind. When COVID-19 pandemic globally broke out in 2020, and we took the lead to obtain the antiviral results and published in the Journal of Pharmacological Research. This research paper is the first experimental evidence for TCM against SARS-CoV-2 and were awarded research article of the year in this journal. Actually, we are very proud of this. Meanwhile, a multi-center prospective randomized controlled trial were conducted in the same year, and you can see in a total 294 COVID-19 patients from 9 provinces in China were recruited to participate in these studies, and the primary study endpoint were listed the right part. You can see the disappearance rate of clinical syndromes is up to as much as 91.5%. The duration of the symptoms reduced by 3 days. Notably, the conversion to the severe cases decreased by 50%. These results were also published in the Fatty Medicine. So we should also, we didn't show the journals cover. In 2021, a real-world study of 1,976 cases were conducted in Hebei province. Preventive use of Lian Hua Qing Wen reduced the infection rate by 76% in close contact population and alleviate the incidence of the symptoms by 67%. This result were published in the journal. Evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine. And you can see we put the journals cover the right corner. And I, you see, now now the largest randomized double-blind international multi-center clinical study to investigate efficacy and safety of Lian Hua Qing Wen capsules is recruiting is underway compared with placebo control and standard of care in adult patients with mild to moderate COVID-19 patients. Who you see this slides are also experimental evidence, to elucidate the pharmacological mechanism of action against SARS-CoV-2, and we cooperate with Xiamen University to identify and compare the serum components after oral application in rats, dogs, and healthy persons at least 4 blood entry components can inhibit the ACE2 receptor, the ACE2 receptor, control the virus entry to the cell and prevent the virus entry from the host cell. These results were published in the APSB and recommended at the cover articles. It has been almost 20 years since Lian Hua Qing Wen came into the market. We have detailed post-market surveillance data about the safety here. We show the data from January 1st, 2009. The incidence of the adverse reaction, the Lian Hua Qing Wen was significantly lower than that. The control, the other agents. So let me to make a summary. In brief, Lian Hua Qing Wen stems from the clinical practices and theoretical summary in fighting with pestilence. Lian Hua Qing Wen is we can say is a representative TCM in treatment of the respiratory infectious diseases characterized by multi-target therapies. For his complicated components, the clinical evidence is strong enough that Lian Hua Qing Wen exerts a broad spectrum antivirus effect. You can see, we do the clinical trial in influenza, upper respiratory infections, on this time COVID-19. Preventative use of Lian Hua Qing Wen can reduce the infection rate of the close contacts with influenza and COVID-19. And for the safety concern, we can see compared with the other therapeutic drugs, the incidence of adverse reaction of the Lian Hua Qing Wen is really low. So I will end here, and thank you for your candor and attention.